I have a question here which is asking me to determine a rule. And we know the rule is in this form, y equals kx cubed plus c. What that means is that my answer is going to look like y equals something x cubed plus something else. And I need to work out what these blanks are. The first thing I'm going to do though is it asks me to plot the graph of y against x cubed. And if I'm going to do that, I should go into the statistics section of the calculator. And you can see I'm here now. I've put these numbers in here, and the next thing I need to do is get my x cubed. So I'm making a column that I've called CU, and I'm going to put in my equation down the bottom here, which is x to the power of c. That goes into that box that I'm pointing at now, and press enter. And here are my cubed values. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to plot the graph. So I go to my XY line. I go and call my X list will now be X cubed. My Y list is Y. And I hit go. Then I go to the graphing button and we see here that I have a single perfectly straight line. So now that I've ruled my axes, I can show my straight line. Remember, this axis is y, and this one here is x cubed. So now when I make my line, I'll be ruling, so I get out my ruler, and my line looks like this. And there's my y and x cubed line that I've shown. So that's part A complete. Part B asked me to determine the values of k and c and state the rule. Now we're going to do this by using simultaneous equations. So the way we do that is we're going to go to the main section of the calculator and we'll put in some equations, but we need to determine them first. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an orange circle around this point. This means that when x equals 1, y equals 2. And I'm going to substitute those into my general equation, this y equals kx cubed plus x. So rather than writing y equals kx cubed plus c, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn that into y. Well, y is 2 equals k, I don't know. Remember, that's something here that I have to work out. X cubed, well, x here is 1, so I'm going to write 1 cubed plus c. That's my first equation. Now what I'll do is I'll have a look at another point. Let's have a look at this point. And this one says that when x equals 3, y equals 80. So in the same way, my equation of y equals kx cubed plus c becomes 80 equals k times 3 cubed plus c. And that's my second equation. Now what I'll do is I'll use my simultaneous equations function. So I'll go keyboard, and this little knob here is my simultaneous equations. So I'll click that, and I'll enter my two equations into my calculator. So I get 2 equals k times 1 cubed plus c. The next one I get 80 equals k times 3 cubed plus c, and I let the calculator know down in this bit that I want answers for k and c. When I press go, it tells me something that's not very helpful. And that's because I have this connected or set at standard rather than decimal. So I'm going to go back to decimal and I'm going to hit OK, and it's still not working. And that's because I've used the letters k and c. The calculator doesn't always like them, and it doesn't always recognize them as variables. So what I need to do is I need to consider what letters I can put into the calculator that will make it work. So what I'm going to do is I'll write here in my little think bubble that where I see C, I'm going to use X, and where I see K, I'm going to use Y. And I'm going to use the letters that are here, these X's and Y's, and replace all my letters. So let's do that and we'll see what happens. Remember, whenever I said K, I said I'd use Y. Whenever I said C, I said I'd use X. So this K needs to become Y. This C needs to become X. And I'm solving, I didn't mean to do that, I'm solving for x and y. So let's go x, comma, y. And now when I press go, because I've used the right letters, and you can see they're slightly different there, those sort of darky curvy letters rather than the normal typed ones, it tells me my answer. X is -1 and y equals 3. So I'll write that down here. X equals -1 and y equals 3, which means that when I write my equation, x, remember, is c, y is k. So c will be -1, k will be 3, and my equation will be y equals k, which is 3, x squared, plus c, plus -1, or y equals 3x squared minus 1. And that's the equation of my line given the format that I'm told.